We're live. 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 Let me move. Let me move this way. Okay. Family, I'm outside in Puerto Rico, and I don't know why. Something's not letting me put on makeup. Crazy, right? Because y'all know me. I be having my face beat to the gods as best I can, anyway. Y'all know I be trying to have my face beat to the gods for some reason. The makeup, it's all sitting right there. It is all sitting right there. All the brushes, everything is all sitting right there. I don't feel like doing it. I don't feel like no makeup. Well, I mean, look around. Let me show you around. It's just, do you see the ocean right over there? Child, I mean, who feels like putting on makeup in the Caribbean? I don't know. I don't know. Can't do it. Can't do it. Come on in, come on in, come on in, come on in, family. Come on in, come on in. Come on in. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Look at our family. Look at our family. Come on, Witchy Wonders. Hey, how you loving? How you loving, YouTubers? Love tubers. Love tubers. Y'all about to get a gift this week. Love tubers. Oh my goodness. Family, I am coming down to the home stretch on this book, Spell Crafting for the Christian Witch and Magical Prayers for the Christian Witch. When y'all see these two books, please, 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 please give reviews. Let me know what your thoughts are, because these two books. Yes, Danielle, let the sun be my bronze. I'm gonna take that. Oh my goodness, I cannot, even with the makeup. I cannot. How you loving? How you loving, family? How you loving? Hey, Kathy! Citral, how you loving? This Witchy Wednesday, baby. It is Witchy Wednesday. We're about to get it in. Today, Christians, in our next segment of Christians You've Been Lied To, we are going to blood magic, one of my favorite things to talk about. Get ready. Get ready. Now, if you're not subscribed, if you're new here, because we have a ton of new people here, a ton of new magical witchy beings here. If you're new here, I'm Reverend Valerie Love. Oh my goodness, come on, Danielle, let's do it, right? I'm Reverend Valerie Love. Happy to be able to serve as divine midwife of soul destiny. They call me Kaisi, name that I received from our beloved ayahuasca, Mother Ayahuasca in Peru. And I'm thankful to be here serving you. And I'm thankful to be in this movement that is Christian Witches. Christian Witches is a movement that you and I are in. We're in a movement. And the movement is not about who's right and who's wrong. The movement is about all of us coming to an understanding that we must live and let live, and make sure that every person is accorded honor and freedom of worship and honor and freedom of devotion. That's what Christian Witches really is about. It's about no one can tell you what you can and cannot do. No one can tell you how you can and cannot worship, and that you ought not to be guilted for being a witch or a Christian witch or a hoodoo practitioner, a root worker, an astrologer, a tarot reader, or whatever the case may be. That we have come to the end of the time that Christians, not all, because we have a lot of beautiful Christians here in this beautiful community, that no longer do people shame anyone for worship. No more worship shaming. It's over. It's over. So Christian Witches is really about a movement, and it's about standing and you serving, and it's about you standing in your knowing of who you are and what you're called to be and how you're called to worship. If that's magic and being a mermaid, beautiful. If that's Catholic and with a tarot deck, beautiful. If that's whatever it looks like for you, beautiful. We applaud that. No longer are people hiding out because they're afraid to be shamed and to be vilified and marginalized and attacked. That's all over. That's all over. Love to the rescue. Love to the rescue, baby. All that is over. It's over. It's over. It's over. There's only love here now, okay? There's only love here now. Love and appreciation and honor and acceptance and respect for every being. We're missing that in today's world, especially with Rona. People want to mass shame people. People want to oh my God, politicize everything. People want to attack people. We need to calm down, take a breath. There's room for beautiful discussion and understanding, and there's room for peaceful coming to peaceful understanding. We don't all have to agree, yet seek peace with your brother and with your sister and with the others. Sisters, brothers, and others. Some people are not brothers or sisters. Seek peace with everyone. And the only way you can seek peace with everyone is when you're seeking peace, when you're peaceful within yourself. Okay, so let's begin. We're in the Forbidden Knowledge series, and every conversation we say the same thing. Does this mean that this forbidden knowledge can't be known? It's not forbidden because it can't be known, no. It's forbidden because, by and large, this is the kind of knowledge, occult knowledge and occult wisdom that no one wanted you to know and that they did not tell you in church, and they probably hoped you would never find out. That's why we call it forbidden. Not because you can't know it, you can know it. You can go online right now, you can research everything that I'm going to talk about today, and you can find it for yourself. We're not looking for believers, we're not looking for disciples, we're not looking for zealots. We are here to support each one of us in becoming masters of your own destiny and experiencing freedom spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially. That's your job, right? It's to free yourself. That's our job. That's my job. That's your job. It's to free your mind. Free your mind. How do you free your mind? Study to show thyself approved. Go beyond what they told you. Give thanks to the people that told you. Say, thank you for teaching me about Jesus and don't have sex and don't lie, don't cheat. Thank you for teaching me about the 10 Commandments, which, by the way, came from Kemet, but that's another conversation for another day. Maybe that's next Witchy Wednesday, the true origin of the 10 Commandments. But all of that, we give them thanks for giving us all of what they gave us, and you just go beyond that, because that wasn't the whole story. And I love going beyond. So let's talk about blood magic. Because this is, people get real worked up about this. Now, I talk about this in my book, How to Be a Christian Witch, which, by the way, thank you, because the book is selling like hotcakes, and the reviews, astonishing. So if you have the book and you haven't put a review on Amazon yet, would you do us solid and let me know what in the book is working for you, so I can do more of it. And so we love that. We love the reviews that are coming so that we can see, and I can incorporate, this in all of the coming books, lots of coming books. Book is so good, yay! Tamika, thank you. And to all of you who have left a review on Amazon, thank you. The reviews are incredible. And when we get to 50 to 100 reviews, I think it's at 41 reviews or so as I do this video right now. When it gets up to between 50 and 100 views, Amazon picks it up and then starts sending it out in their emails as recommendations to people. So I love the reviews. I'm so thankful. So in this book, I write about blood magic. And I'll tell you the page where I'm writing about the blood oath in the chapter called The Blood Oath. It's titled The Blood Oath. Now, by the way, you can pick this book up, How to Be a Christian Witch. You can pick it up right now in Amazon. And if you go to christianwitches.com, you click on books, you'll see it there. You can go straight to Amazon and search it, and you'll see it there. Now, it's available in ebook and paperback, and I would recommend you get both. Now, here is procuring blood for the declaration. What is the declaration? Well, in this very specific step-by-step protocol of how to initiate yourself as a Christian witch, part of the initiation is blood and a blood oath. Now, I have never been in an initiation that did not require some kind of oath, some kind of contract. And I don't want to use the word contract as in legal. I'm more talking about a devotion or a dedication or a commitment that you are making to your soul, to yourself, capital S self, to be or do something. Like I've committed to the magical path, right? Maybe you've committed to being a witch or a wizard or a warlock or a magical being. Or maybe you've committed to being a hoodoo practitioner. Or maybe you were initiated as a voodoo priest or priestess. Whatever the case may be, whenever you have an initiation, you are taking a vow. You're taking some kind of sacred oath, okay? I totally appreciate the personal take. Oh, good, on your journey. I value your guidance as an opportunity instead of a mandate. Yes, Jody. That is the big, I'm so happy that it came through, Jody, because that is the big desire of my heart, that none of us fall into dogma, that you take this book, try, see what works for you, see what doesn't work for you. This is me sharing my journey. This is not a dogma, because then we just leave one religion and we just pick up another. And that's not really the purpose. The purpose is I'm sharing my journey, and I pray that we have so many other Christian witches that come forward and write books and share their journey too. Just like we have a myriad of books on Wicca. That's beautiful. We have a myriad of books now coming forward on Sangria. We have a myriad of books now coming forward on Voodoo and Vodou. This is beautiful. We have a myriad of books coming forward now on ceremonial magic. I love it. So all we really are going to, what's really going to work is to get us to have a myriad of books on Christian witchcraft, right? Wow, that would be amazing. That would be amazing, because we can get so many books on Wicca. You can get so many books about so many magical practices, but you can't find very many books that really take you into the depths on Christian witchcraft. So more are coming. I know more are coming because I know y'all are going to like some more. Come on, Witchy Wednesday. Hey, Reverend Tara. Witchy Wednesday. Tessa, going to order it soon. 44 years old, newbie, but actually my mother, my grandmother, and my mother's mother naturally uses magic. Absolutely. Tessa, that's the exact same thing that I found out, that my mom and grandmother, all these women were witches. They were all witches. When you start doing witchcraft, you see, oh, we've been doing this for a long time in our family. This is witchcraft. We all do this. Look, my grandmother, one of my grandmothers was on the paternal side. One of my grandmothers, the paternal father that I grew up with, not the paternal father, who is my actual birth father that I just found out about not too long ago, and I'm in his native land now, which is my native land, which is Puerto Rico. But anyway, my paternal grandmother, the father that I grew up with, she used to teach you couldn't get in touch, you couldn't get her hair. You could not get her hair. She would comb her, and this was a Christian woman. This was a Christian woman, Bible all, but she would comb her hair, brush her hair. She'll take that hair, she would put it down the toilet, flush it down the toilet. You could not get her hair. And what is that? We didn't understand that until later on. You couldn't get her hair, her nail clippings, nothing from her person, because people understood that people untoward people try to take these things personal to you, and they try to use them in their magic and thus get control of your head, right? That's what she taught us. Do not ever let anybody get your hair. And we used to be like, okay, Grandma, why did Grandma say that? I don't know. We didn't know why they were telling us any of these things that they were telling us. They were telling us a lot of witchcraft. They were giving us a lot of witchcraft. And then did you see your grandmothers put on, get your saliva, your blood, there are many, effulgia, they call it, right? Am I saying the word right? Effulgia. I hope I'm saying that word right. Basically, bodily fluids. Saliva is a powerful bodily fluid. And you can tell saliva is a powerful bodily fluid because you swap saliva with the people that you love when you kiss them. So, I mean, there you have it right there. Then you have, of course, the bodily fluids that are in yoni, which are really wonderful for sex magic, and then you have the bodily fluids of penises, yonis and lingams, and then you have blood, and you have a lot of bodily fluids. You have a lot to work with. You have sweat. You have a lot of things. You have clippings of nails. You have hair. You have a lot of things to work with in magic. So use your imagination. Today, what we're talking about is we're talking about blood magic. Now, they say in Christianity that the Bible is against witchcraft. I can't tell you how many people say that, and that's just not true. It's not true. It's not true. Do the research. Don't just, you just hear so many people that just parrot what they've heard. And I just have compassion for people like that, because I understand that their head has been appropriated by an outer entity that seeks to use them as an energy, as a battery, to power their own matrix. So for people who just keep spouting the same Christian beliefs, the Bible condemns witchcraft. That's not true. study. For people that say the Bible condemns magic, that's not true. Study. And today we're going to take apart another part. The Bible condemns blood magic. That's not true. Now here's two ways that we know that this is not true. First of all, the entire Christian religion is a blood magic religion. And many of you have already said this on the Christian Witches Facebook fan page. The same conclusion I came to. The whole thing is based on the blood sacrifice. They always talk about blood. Blood, plead the blood, the blood, the blood. But then they tell you don't do blood magic. The whole thing that they're doing is based on blood. The whole Christian paradigm is a blood paradigm. It's based on blood. So they're saying that this blood was used to save your life. Now let's go before the Christ experience, before the Christ came about. So before the Christ came about, what did they do? They killed the animals. Same animal sacrifice that they do in Europe. Same thing, chasing a chicken in witchcraft, same thing. Bring an animal, cut it at the temple. They call it the temple. Not a bimbe, you have a bimbe and you are going to now have a new priest or priestess in Europe. And you chase a chicken, and you have the chicken, you have the goat, you have blood sacrifices. And I don't really understand how people are so about blood sacrifices, but these are the same people that eat a steak at dinner time and don't have no problem with putting chicken on their sandwich. Two things I would never do, but I mean, to each his own. That I used to do things like that. I don't do things like that anymore. These same people that cry and scream about blood sacrifices are still eating chicken and pork and beef from these institutions that take animals and shove them together and smash them together in pens and slaughter them, and it's disgusting, and the animals are sickly. These are the same people that tell you, not to, they say, oh, that blood sacrifice, that's terrible. But you go into the church, I mean, I don't think people think about these things. You go into the church on Sunday after the Christian, after the service, you go into the food hall. Some of them sell food, some of them have food, and you got the big old pig that was that not an animal sacrifice. Oh, that's different. Why is it different? Because you want to eat it. You're still using it for energy. You're still using something from this animal for energy. So I don't get it. I don't get how we make okay the things that we want to do, and then so we can stay self-righteous and condemn the things that other people do. I don't know how we do that, but we do it. So the whole religion is a blood religion. Now let me pause for a moment and look at some of the comments. I have utilized some of your teachings and information from your books when I help. Ooh, give direction. Look at Jay. To give direction and advisement to my circle of practitioners. Oh, yes. Jay, I'm so honored. I love hearing that, Jay. Well, I honor your circle of practitioners. I honor all practitioners. I'm so thankful because this is the moment for practitioners to step up to the plate and work on magic and save this whole planet from just total meltdown. Like everything's melting down on the planet. Healthcare systems is melting down. How we look at public health is melting down. Race relations is melting down. All of our systems are melting down, and I'm so happy that we have so many practitioners on it, spiritual practitioners and magical practitioners on it. Okay? The first blood sacrifice came from Crow's woman that had a natural cycle, and that blood represents life, not death. Absolutely, right from the ground up production. So let's talk about this. And let me see what 27 Sparkle said. My grandpa killed the chicken, and before Grandma cooked it, there was a thankfulness for the chicken. Yes, this is exactly what we're talking about, 27 Sparkle, because when you are in a mindful experience and you're coming from intention is everything, right? You're coming from an intention of being one with the all, and you're coming from an intention of love, and you're coming from an intention of wholeness and oneness and peace and bliss, then you approach everything as it is, the divine being that it is. And so therefore, our native ancestors that were here on this, in the Native American, right? We call them the First Nations. When the First Nations would go for a hunt for bison. They're not going to slaughtering all the bison. Did you see that picture? Oh man, that thing made my heart just, it just made me sick to my stomach. Did you see? There's a picture that they have of bison dead going. The pile was going all the way up to the sky. A pile of bison that the invaders, the colonizers killed so that they could kill off the food supply of the Native Americans. I thought, oh my God, that thing just did something to my, that's mindless slaughter. We're not talking about slaughter. Slaughter and sacrifice are two different things, two different energies. You would have never seen the First Nations just slaughter up a bunch of animals and pile them up and stand in front of them with guns. Oh, that thing was, it disturbed my soul. I said, wow, we are really, we're murderers, right? So we're not talking about that. We're talking about coming from a consciousness of being one with the all. And when you come from this consciousness of being one with the all, you approach the tree. The tree is divine. And before cutting down the tree and using the wood, you ask the tree, you commune with the tree. The tree is God, and the tree is me, and I am the tree. Tree, would you give your energy to the heating of my home? If the tree says yes, beautiful. If the tree says no, or maybe you only cut down trees, maybe you only chop up trees for wood for your home, like a lot of people I know that have already fallen. A lot of people I know that just foraged through the woods and just trees that have fallen, twigs that have fallen, branches that have fallen, they take these up, chop them up, and use them for wood. So this is mindful. This is coming from an intention that all is divine, all is God, right? But these other people that are just out here wantonly slaughtering it, and if you took many of the people that eat in church on a Sunday afternoon, I'm just telling you about the churches that I've seen, mostly black churches, where we got all this fried chicken and all these pig feet and all these ribs all laid out and all this stuff, and everything that we would eat on Sunday dinner, soul food. I don't have anything against soul food. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not the bottom line of this conversation. The bottom line of this conversation is what is the intention and what is the consciousness from which you're moving. Consciousness. That's the bottom line of everything. Energy, what is consciousness? So these very same people that tell you not to do blood magic and tell you, oh my God, I can't believe y'all chasing chicken. I can't believe y'all cut a goat. These are the very same people that will eat animals that have been tortured and until they were slaughtered. They are in pens and in such despicable conditions that if you took them to where their food was coming from, they probably would retch. You probably wouldn't even be able to stand the stench if you went and looked at where the food is coming from. Don't want to be aware. People don't want to wake up. They don't want to know. You don't have to know. I do know one thing, there's a price for ignorance. There's a price, it's very expensive. I don't want to be ignorant. I'd rather know. And then, please, God, give me this divine great self within. Please give me the ability to want to change and do something better for myself and for the whole. Please let me want to do something better for myself and for the whole. So that's the take on slaughter versus sacrifice. Now, one other thing I want to say about the First Nations and about what I experience when I go into sweat lodges. When you go into a sweat lodge, same consciousness. We must take a stone and we heat these stones to 5,000 degrees. So the stones can serve us in the sweat lodge for the heat and for us to connect, come out of our conscious mind, be in altered states of consciousness, connect with higher dimensions and higher realms through the element of fire. And through the herbs, the 7 sacred herbs in Peru, they have 7 sacred herbs that the shaman puts on each stone as the stones enter the sweat lodge. Now you can come with us to Peru next time we go and you will experience this thing for yourself. You don't need me to tell you about it. Go and have the experience for yourself. Well, before they bring in the stones to heat them in this oven, it's a ceremony. This stone is divine. I must ask this stone, will you give your life? Are you willing to give your essence for the upliftment of humanity? Are you willing to be used in this way? And then the stone, if the stone says yes, same thing with our Lakota brothers and sisters in North America. If the stone says yes, then they receive the stone and they put the stone into the fire and it's fire all night, right? If the stone says no, they go to another stone. We're not just running out, grabbing things out of nature and using it for our own purposes. This is unconsciousness. We're not just running out, grabbing a. I never cut down a tree in my life. I have a vow of harmlessness. I just choose to be a beneficial force of nature to life rather than being a destructive force of nature to life. Now, when I say beneficial and destructive, it does not mean that I don't destroy things. Of course, I destroy things. That's nature. If nature needs to destroy things, it'll send a fire through, it'll send a hurricane through. That's all nature. What I'm saying is that I do not choose to intentionally bring harm. It doesn't mean I don't make mistakes and harm things. I'll probably step on 20 ants just going to the car. I'm not going out there stomping on ants. That's not the intention. But I'm sure I probably killed a few bugs today and didn't even know it. So it's not like you're never going to do any harm for the rest of your life. It's what is your intention? In my heart, I truly desire to bring benefit to this universe of life. I choose to be a god. I choose to be a goddess, right? And yeah, if you have to destroy some shit, you destroy it. But it's not because, and you're not destroying people, it's not because you're choosing to be harmful or willfully spiteful to other people. It's because something needs to be destroyed. You destroy it energetically and physically. But I'm not talking about other people. Okay, so now let's go further with this blood experience. So we've already established that the entire Christian religion is basically a blood religion. It's built on blood. And that before it was built on a human sacrifice, and you would get a lot of Christians that would tell you that there is something wrong with human sacrifice, and they'll look at the old Peru, the Inca and whatnot, and they had a human sacrifice element. Many ancient cultures had a human sacrifice element. And Christians, oh, that's horrible. Your religion is built on a human sacrifice. So I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, let's go further. So we've already established thus far in this discussion that we've already discussed, I don't know if we've established it, you get to establish in your mind what you choose, right? We've already discussed or addressed that the entire religion is based on a blood concept. That in addition to that is blood of a human. Now, before it was blood of a human, it was blood of animals. And the animals were actually ritually, when I say ritually, I mean as part of rituals of forgiveness and of cleansing for the people, the animals were brought to the temple and were slaughtered by the priests. This is no different from voodoo or vodou. No difference whatsoever. It's all in the Bible. Voodoo is in the Bible. I said it. Now, let's go further. When I'm going to tell you in church, I'm never going to tell you this part in church, you can look it up and read it for yourself. When Adam and Eve left the Garden of Eden, there's a story after they were put out. Now, see, in the Bible that we got, where it's just 66 books, the Catholic Bible gives you a little bit more, but you need to even go beyond that, right? But in the story that we got that Adam and Eve was pretty much perfect, and they had a fall because they listened to the devil. They got, devil as a serpent, ate the apple, got kicked out. Had Cain and Abel. One killed the other. And next thing you know, 930 years later, Adam was dead. And we don't know what happened to Eve. And we don't know what happened to all the other kids. That's the rest of this story. This is an epic story, right? This is the story of the genesis of all humanity on this planet. Did you ever feel like something was missing from Adam and Eve's story? Well, what happened there? They'll be telling you the story. Yeah, and they had the fig leaves on or whatever and they put them out, and there was an angel there with the flaming sword, and they couldn't get back in. And then what happened? Eve got pregnant. It was horrible, horrible birthday. And then what happened? They had Cain and Abel. And then what happened? Cain killed Abel. And then what happened? He died. What happened to Eve? We're not talking about her. She's a troublemaker. Was anybody else intrigued about where is the rest of this epic story? Y'all hold out on me, Christians, because this story, there's got to be more to it than that. That's what my mind was thinking. I don't know. Hey, CC, right? How you love it, boo? I don't know what anyone else was thinking. I myself was having some issues with some of these stories. Was anybody else having issues with any of these stories, or were these stories just making total and complete sense to you? They were not landing as total and complete. I was either like, either these people are making this whole thing up, or there's parts that I'm not yet privy to. There's probably a secret room that they have somewhere where they're telling people what's really going on, but I just don't have access to that. Maybe I'm just a dumbass. I don't know. Well, anyway, when you start to grow up and you expand beyond what you've been taught, and you have the courage to go beyond, and you're no longer a robot sitting in a church just yes, pastor, woo, shabba-dabba-dabba. You get up and you go home and you eat your fried chicken, and then you come back next Sunday and you do the whole thing all over again and keep doing that for 30 years. Well, anyway, that's one path. I'm offering something else. I'm offering to you something beyond that, right? And many of you have already taken, what is it, the red pill or the blue pill? But now you can take one pill and go right back to your lovely life. Forget everything I said. You don't know anything about forbidden knowledge or ancient mysteries. You don't know nothing about, you don't want to know nothing about the Egyptians. You don't want to know anything about that. You don't want to know anything about anything. Just take the pill and go back to the curses in Deuteronomy. I did talk about that, so go back and look at that one. I definitely talked about that. So just take that pill, go back to your life and kneel and just work at the little software company where you're working. But now, if you want to take this blue pill or whatever pill it was, this is just a choice. It's a choice. Now let's see how far down this rabbit hole goes. So I'm the rabbit hole girl. I was like, give me that pill. Because I want to see. Well, Adam and Eve, in the lost books of the Bible, and actually it's called The Life of Adam and Eve. Look it up. It's at pseudepigrapha.com. Pseudepigrapha.com is spelled pseudigrapha.com. I refer to it a lot. It's in my books. Pseudepigrapha.com. So when you go to pseudepigrapha.com, it's got the Apocrypha there, which are quote unquote the spurious, non-inspired books of the Bible that they didn't want you to see. Not included in the 66 books of the canon. But you can read them. They're all available right now. Dead Sea Scrolls, all that's all available. Go look it up. You can read it for yourself. Well, in the lost book of Adam and Eve and the life of Adam and Eve, it tells you a whole lot more about what was going on with Adam and Eve when they left the garden. They first went to the cave of treasures. And I was like, cave of treasures? Why didn't anybody ever tell me about the cave of treasures? This sounds like a good part that you could have kept in the story. But no, we got to cut out all that part because this is just too much for the normal person who's coming to church. You don't need to know about the cave of treasures. Yet they went into a cave of treasures. I wanted to know, God made a cave of treasures. This is fascinating. And that's where they went. That's where they lived, according to the story, right? Now, I'm not saying this from a place of literal, and I'm not talking to you like all of this is literal, because I don't believe just my own personal take on it, not one word of the Bible is literal, not one word. Everything is a metaphor and an allegory. It stands for something. It means something to me right now. This is not about people that lived thousands of years ago. This is about my character right now. This is about divine forces and divine energies and currents and supernatural forces that I can tap into right now for my life. That's the way I read the Bible. Now, everybody's got a different way of how they're going to look at it. Now, and I honor all people's ways of looking at things. Whatever works for you, work it. Now, I was also puzzled. I was always puzzled with the four Gospels. Why are there four different stories? Which one is true? Ain't that a good question? See right here. And why is there's no talk about this with the Christians? Like all four of them clearly say different things, but that's okay. It's very interesting, isn't it? Okay, let's look at this other question, this other comment. Let me see. It says, When I was in Sunday school, I asked if Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel, and Cain killed Abel. Yeah, Cain was marked by God and told whoever harms him, he will be punished. Who else is there? Interesting. Yeah, yeah. They said a lot of interesting things about Cain and Abel. They also said that that there was a sister. Because I was like, where did all the people come from? Because if it was only Cain and Abel, and these were the only men on the planet, and one died, where did all the rest of us come from? Well, they could never answer that question conclusively. Where did all the people come from? Who did Abel get with? Because later you see Abel with wives and the other ones with wives. Where did these wives come from? They didn't tell you where the wives came from. It's very fascinating. Anyway, let's go further. With the blood, they come out of the garden. They go into the cave of treasures. They're just distraught, right? Just, oh, it's horrible. I mean, you can imagine how horrifying this is. You were in this beautiful, beautiful, luxurious, fabulous garden with everything you can imagine eating. And, oh, it's wonderful. And you're sleeping on this beautiful, soft bed of wonderful leaves. And, you know, you're in nature all day, every day. You're by the river drinking this sweet, cool, delicious water. 4 rivers going through the Garden of Eden. And then all of a sudden you're cast out and you're in this wilderness. Well, that's a shocker. That's a shocker to your sister right there, right? So they were all verklempt, as they say, right? Well, they decide that they're going to pray, and they make an altar. And what do they do on the altar? They cut themselves and they put blood on the altar. I'm going to say that again. They perform the first ever recorded act in the Bible. Now, people have been doing blood sacrifices for I don't know how long, for eons. The first recorded in the Bible, blood sacrifice. Adam and Eve made an altar, put their own blood on the altar because instinctively they knew they had to give up something of their own essence and to pray to reach God. It's right there. Go read it. It's right there. So, what do you make of these things when you read them? Well, that's for you to come to your own conclusions. I'll tell you some of the conclusions that I came to. Conclusions that I came to is that blood magic has been around forever, and that people have been practicing blood magic forever, and the whole Christian religion is based on blood magic. Now, let's go further. They made this blood altar. They cried and cried out to God, and they got help because the archangels came. So the archangels came and helped them. That's what it says. Isn't that very interesting? That's what it says, right? Oh, red pill, let's see what it says. Red pill, down the rabbit hole. Blue pill, return to the matrix. Thank you very much, Arlie. Thank you, Arlie, for giving me that. Okay, the red pill, ooh, yeah. Blue pill, back in the matrix. Okay, got it. I'm going to keep that in mind now. Thank you. Thank you. Got you to catch the replay of this. Oh, yeah, it's delicious. Yep, that's what it says, right? You know, that's what it says. Okay, now, let's go a little further. So the first ever, where did this come from? Like, they instinctively, intuitively knew as they were praying that somehow blood was going to be very, how did they know that? I think it was intuitive. Okay, let's go further. So we go further in and we find that the angels came and helped them. Archangel Michael came. It also tells about when she gave birth. She didn't know what was going on. It's the first birth ever of any human that ever lived. So, of course, the angels had to come and essentially midwife the birth of the first child. And they said that this child stood up, coming out the womb, stood up and took 9 steps, ran. I think it was 9 steps that this baby took. As soon as the baby was born, it was like this supernatural baby that came out. These stories are amazing, aren't they? I don't know, you don't even need Lord of the Rings if you just read the Bible. Because the Bible is Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones, Harry Potter, all of it all rolled into one. Narnia, all of it all rolled into one. It's very fascinating. Like, I wouldn't throw these stories out for anything in the world because these stories are freaking fascinating. Like, who made this shit up? And were they on shrooms or acid or what were they on? Because this stuff is good. Okay, so anyway. Let's move forward. The next thing that I want to really look at is your own blood. So we already understand blood is all throughout the Bible. Blood sacrifice is all throughout the Bible. It's not a thing. Human sacrifice is all throughout the Bible. When I say it's not a thing, I mean it's not a problem because it's all throughout the Bible. And it's all throughout every magical tradition. And it's been with us for eons. Now, here's where I'm going to share with you in How to Be a Christian Witch. What I talk about in the blood oath in here, how we use blood and blood magic in this particular way for making your oath. Now, when we initiate witches into the Christian witches tradition, and if there is a blood oath that is taken. Now, do you remember this? This is something that Spirit channeled through my mind as I was preparing to come and speak with y'all. Do you remember back in the day when we were little, we used to have blood brothers and blood sisters? Do you remember you would cut your little finger and put it together? Does anybody remember that? Does anybody remember? How are we just not killing ourselves doing all these things we were doing when we were kids? Does anybody remember that? Blood brothers and blood sisters? We used to do that. Did anybody else here do that, or was that just us? You remember? Yep. Okay, Donna, you remember? Yes. How did we not kill ourselves? Because they were like, it was not sterile by any means. And we were just sticking ourselves probably with a piece of glass we picked up from the street or some pig from grandma. Yay! But in the morning, peace. You remember Ocho Wajet? Oh my goodness. Remember that? We used to just pick up something and just stick it with a pen, right? Get your grandma sewing needle or whatever it was. And we were kids. And blood brothers, blood sisters. And that's my blood. And then we would proudly proclaim it. That was an act of blood magic, family. That was a bond. How did we know that was something to do? Because kids know stuff like this. Like this is a thing. Like blood and this blood oath and this blood bond. This means something. And we knew it means something. That's my blood brother. That's my blood sister. And you could adopt a family member because you weren't doing that. I didn't do blood brothers with none of my natural brothers and sisters. I got 2 brothers and 1 sister. Not one of them did I want to be a blood brother or blood sister with. We were naturally blood brothers and blood sisters. But this other one is what you chose. And you wanted to solidify the commitment, right? You wanted to make that connection and that commitment, and then you were bonded for life. Same thing. It's the same thing we're doing in magic. This is a simple concept that all of us have already been exposed to. This is nothing new, and it's nothing bizarre. So, in the blood magic portion, the blood oath, when you're taking the blood oath, same thing in Christian witchcraft. Now, we're not mixing everybody's blood with everybody. You work with your own blood. Every single person works with their own blood. It's very sanitary. Nobody touches anybody else's blood. So everything stays copacetic because you're only working with your own blood, and you take your oath, and we have different ways of procuring the blood, which I'll talk to you about in a moment. You have different ways of procuring the blood. You get the blood, and you're going to do either a fingerprint or you're going to do a handprint. Now, my handprint is a handprint of menstrual blood. Now, let's talk about the different methods of procuring the blood since we're talking about this. So you could just do a cut. You do a pinprick. That works just fine if you want to just seal it with a thumbprint. So you can do that, and when you seal it with a print, it has your fingerprint there, and you see, and your own subconscious mind sees that this is a binding oath. This is you with your declaration that you have made for your initiation, and you are putting the blood oath on the declaration. I hope you can see this. This is in the book, How to Be a Christian Witch. Pick it up. Now, there's another way that you can procure it other than the pinprick. You could do just a little cut in the palm of your finger, which you see on magic shows all the time. You see witches walking around, they have an athame. You watch anything like The Order. Now, I'm not talking about cutting yourself and bleeding. Now, please be careful with yourself, okay? But you see shows like The Order and different shows, adding Vampire Diaries and all these shows and the originals and all this. They always have a witch in them. All of them have a witch. And all of the witches that I've ever seen, I've never seen a witch that was scared of blood, including myself. I've never seen a witch that was scared of blood. It just hasn't happened. Maybe there are some. I just have never seen them. They just be cutting shit. Doing whatever. I never seen witches that was queasy about it. Whenever my kids was bleeding out, I wasn't, not bleeding out. They didn't bleed out. But whenever they was bleeding out, I was never queasy about blood. I don't know. just was very natural to me. I don't know why, but I do understand some people are queasy about blood, right? Well, anyway, hey, dirty playing and fine, right? Right, CC, right? It was pretty. We probably had dirt in the blood, making the blood old. We should have been dead, but we're not. Okay, so anyway, let's talk about the third way that you can procure the oil, the blood. So you can do a pinprick. That's number one. Number two, you can do a simple cut in the palm of the hand, like you see on TV all the time. Get blood that way. If you want to do a full blown handprint on your declaration, because then what you do is you're gonna have the blood. It's gonna pour out. We recommend putting it on either a stone, like a clean natural surface, which is a stone. I talk about this in the book. And you just put the blood on the stone, and you can put the blood in such a way that it covers your whole palm, and then you're going to put your palm on your declaration, because the declaration that you have created, which is your commitment and your initiation to be a Christian witch, and to give yourself to the path, or whatever path you're doing that requires a blood oath of yourself, this is how you can do it. So mine looks like this. It looks like a handprint. Now, so the third way that you can procure blood, and this is where some people are like, oh, is menstrual blood. And I myself love menstrual blood because it's very powerful and potent. It's very potent. Menstrual blood is very potent because it's coming from the uterus. This is blood that would have sustained life and it would have had a baby with it. So this is probably some very, very, very amped up blood. But now don't try to go and find yourself some menstrual blood if you don't have it. I don't recommend that. Okay, so this is only if you have ready access to menstrual blood. If you don't, skip this section and go to the next section. This does not apply to you if you don't have access, okay? If you do have access to menstrual blood, this is what I do. I keep menstrual blood in my reliquary. I have menstrual blood in my reliquary right now. So how do you do that? You can do it two different ways. You can either do the cups, because now they have the diva cups where during menstruation you can pull the cup out and it has the blood in it. Perfect. It's already there, right? Listen, oh, Donna, okay, 52. Donna, do you want to know something so crazy? While I was writing this book, I kid you not, my period came back. I'm just bleeding away. Child, I just had the 23rd anniversary of my 36th birthday, okay? So do the math. 36. Child, I was like, God, you mean to tell me I can still get pregnant? That is a scary thought. That is a scary thought. Okay, so I thought menstrual blood was over, and I got to get some more menstrual blood. So here's what I did. You can bring the cup, right? You can get a cup and bring the cup out if you use the cup. If you don't use the cup, then you can use a pad. A pad works great. This is actually the method I use. I use the pad. I would probably scream like Michael Jackson after I come. Oh my goodness, that is funny. Oh man, so be careful. Don't we don't no screaming in magic. There's no screaming unless you're shouting a chant or something. You spell. There's no screaming in magic. So be very careful with yourself. If that's something that you don't really want to do, don't take that route. You know, that's why we have so many different ways to do these things, because you really gotta find what works for you. Now, what works for me is not cutting my hand. What works for me is the pinprick and the menstrual blood. I love the menstrual blood. So whenever I collect blood, it's always gonna be menstrual blood. Now, I have some menstrual blood right now that is in my reliquary, and this was simple to collect. If you don't want to use the cup, you just use a pad. And dudes, if this sounds, weird, please forgive us. We're just going to give this little piece because men are like, you want to clear a room of men. You just say sanitary napkins. They're like, shoo. So bear with us for a second, dudes, okay? And what happens is you get the blood, of course, collected on the pad. And what I have found is you wash your hands, everything's clean, you wash your hands, right? And I have found if you just put your hand right on the pad, you can get a good coverage of blood, and you put your hand on your declaration, your oath, you have a beautiful handprint blood oath, and it's so deep. It's so deep. Like when I close my eyes right now, I can see my blood. Oh, it's so deep. I don't show it to anyone. I wouldn't show it online or anything like that. This is like my own declaration to my path. It's so deep. That's why magic is so powerful. And what is it going to do? It's going to buoy you through all of those challenges. When people say, you can't be a Christian witch, you're going to be like, you're going to power it beyond that. When people say, the Bible condemns witchcraft, what about you? You can say, thank you for sharing. You're going to power past that. When people come at you and they come incorrect, you're going to say, you know what? Thank you. I send you love. You're going to power past that because you're rooted and you're deep, you're anchored into your own commitment with yourself, for yourself. I'm talking higher self. Nothing can touch you. Like Oprah said, when you're on the path of destiny, nothing can touch you. All right, let's go see what this is. Evening from South Africa. Hey, South Africa. We had a lot of blood sacrificing. That's right. In Sangonia initiation processes. I love that. At some point of the initiation, they also have a drinking of blood ceremony before graduation. Yes, that's absolutely right. As a matter of fact, one of the members of this beautiful community, she is an Akan priestess. Now, this didn't happen in her Akan initiation. She went to Ghana to her husband's native home. And of course, they were passing around something to drink, and it was blood, and you drink the blood. This is not at all unusual at all. When I was in Kenya, the Maasai drank blood every morning. This is not unusual. They take a cow, they stick it looks like almost like a straw, and they let the blood out of the cow. It doesn't kill the cow. They don't let a whole lot of blood out. I talk about it in this book. They let blood out of the cow. It goes into a gourd. They mix it with some milk, and I almost passed out. I was like, oh my God, this is a blood smoothie. Now that time I did almost pass out. I was like, ooh, because I'm not drinking no blood in the morning. Yet we cannot judge other people for what they do. We just cannot judge other people for what they do. This is initiation ceremonies and rites. And if you desire people to honor your path, then that comes from you putting out the energy that you honor other people's path. Now, I'm not talking about people going around killing people. Like we don't do none of that. No, like I spoke of earlier, it's a harm none is my approach. Yeah, blood is a big part of magic. Just get over it. That's what it is. It's a big part of the Bible. It's a big part of life. Everybody's pumping with a bunch of blood right now. It's part of life. Get comfortable with it, get accustomed to it, and there is nothing whatsoever. There is nothing whatsoever that condemns blood. Not in the Bible and not anywhere else. So you are free to practice blood magic as you're called to and as it speaks to your soul very deeply. Lastly, in the blood oath, the other thing that I want to say is that you want to keep yourself safe in everything that you do, right? You just want to keep yourself. So I have some recommendations in the book on how to keep yourself safe, how to be sure that you are only working with your own energies and your own blood, how to be clear on your own energetic field. That's what I'm writing about right now in Spellcrafting for the Christian Witch. Your own energetic field, being completely clear on your own energetic field as you're doing what you're doing, and how that energetic field is interacting even with your coven mates and your partners. And it's awareness. It's know thyself. That's our conversation for today on Witchy Wednesday. Andrea says, I love black magic. It's a beautiful part of magic. It's so beautiful, isn't it? It's so beautiful. V. Williams said, they did not make sense, and that turned me away from being as interested growing up. I know, right? I really feel like they could have really told us these stories in a way that could really have caused us to want to be in love with the Bible, because the Bible is an amazing book. It's amazing. Okay. Thank you so much, Queen. All the things I used to do, I forgot. Getting back to my true roots, back to our roots. Back to our roots. Magic is natural for us. It's very natural for us. It's the most natural thing in the world. Don't let our current paradigm of advanced society and technology and scientific breakthrough Don't let that, we ought to not allow that to cause us to forget our true connection to nature, the whole universe, and that everything is energy. Everything is energy. From blood to, from animal blood to human blood to the star, the moon, the stone, the river, the lake, the stream, the ocean. Everything's energy. And we can tap into these energies for supernatural results. Supernatural results. So let me end it by saying, hey, let's look at the ocean. There's Maya right over there. Hi from Puerto Rico. Do you see the ocean over there? Am I showing y'all the ocean? Can y'all see the ocean here? Hopefully. It's right over there. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's a beautiful view. Anyway, it's a beautiful view. I love you. Have a beautiful day. God bless.